They say the conquest ended at Wayna Daga, but they are wrong. A king may fall by the sword, yet a mother does not bury her war so easily. She no longer rode with soldiers. She walked with questions, searching not for land nor victory, but for the last beating pieces of his blood. Hidden far from the clash of steel, she had left 2 small names in trusted houses, sons he never held again, but she never forgot. The lion was gone. Somewhere, his sons were still breathing. The battlefield had fallen silent, but her duty had not. Where men once carried steel, she now carried loss. In her lap lay the torn banner her husband had raised, no longer a sign of conquest, but of memory. She folded it carefully, as if binding a wounded wing, and placed it beside her heart. They had asked where she would go. She answered with a single word: names. She would not let grief bury what blood had written. Somewhere in the vastness of the Horn were 2 small anchors, keeping a nation from drifting. She set her road with bread and questions. In a charred hamlet, she placed grain in the hands of widows and listened. News did not travel in trumpet blasts. It moved in murmurs along the edges of pain. The elders spoke of wards and foster houses, of caravans that took children inland before the thunder reached their doors. In the ash of a collapsed wall, she found a child's slate etched with a single letter, proof that learning had once breathed here. From cracked lips came a thread of hope. 2 boys sheltered at a hilltop shrine before the columns of smoke arrived. Where soldiers had once ridden, Mercy walked instead. Her small escort, scholar, nurse, and 3 quiet riders left water where wells were shallow, patched a trader's harness, mended a child's sandal with a strip torn from her veil. The road noticed. Traders lowered their voices and pointed east. A market town where a veiled queen had asked after boys who bore the lion's gaze. In the ledger of travel, kindness purchased answers no coin could buy. By dusk, she held a sign, 3 knotted threads, the mark of a caravan master who knew the children's path. The hilltop Zawiya waited like a lamp at the end of a dark corridor. She greeted the elders with both hands to her heart, and the night air sweetened. Grief at the gate was a visitor. Devotion within was a resident. The sheikh asked for little, only intention, lineage, and the weight of her promise. She gave them all with steady breath. A novice returned with a small bundle, 2 wooden tablets stained with ink tears, and a child's cloak pinned with a broken crescent. The boys had slept under these roofs, then moved on when rumors of raiders prowled the valleys. She tucked the tokens away, as if returning ribs to a chest. She followed the sound of learning, the little voices that made tunnels through sorrow. In a courtyard school, children recited verses in soft unison. She stood apart, eyes wet but steady, as the teacher pointed toward the foothills. In the hour when birds fold their wings, a guardian woman had taken 2 wards to meet a caravan far from the reach of raiders. The master pressed the 3 knotted threads into her palm once more. "Look for the mark at the fig market of Fig," he said. The land itself seemed to bow and show her the way. The market breathed in dust and voices. She found the caravan master by the scar on his saddle and the caution in his eyes. He feared the weight of names, names that could invite ransom or rope. She did not plead. She arrayed promises instead. Water rights at 2 wells, safe conduct along 3 lanes, repairs for mules, a ledger mark to repay losses. Her sorrow did not seek pity, it demanded truth. At last, his silence cracked. With the point of a staff, he drew a symbol in the earth, a fig tree above a spring, the place of transfer. "At dusk," he said, "come alone, but not unprotected by prayer." The day burned to amber and stilled. Crickets tuned their small violins. She waited by the fig tree with the banner folded in her satchel, fear pacing like an animal behind her ribs. Footsteps approached, first the careful tread of a guardian, then the soft shuffles of boys who had learned to be quiet on the road. She did not run. A queen does not collapse into the future. She knelt and made a table of the earth. Water first, dates second, the warmth of her palm last. The older child watched her with eyes he had borrowed from his father. The younger curled toward her voice as if it were home. Across the years of thunder, letters survived. The boys spoke their names, and the valley seemed to remember them. They spoke their names with voices still thin from childhood. Muhammad, for the mercy of God. Ahmad, for the father they had never held. Her whisper, soft, breaking. Muhammad, Ahmad, your father is gone, but his road is not. She fastened the broken crescent to the elder's cloak and wrapped the younger in the banner fold she had carried through smoke. The guardian woman accepted payment and blessing, but the truest wage was in the way the boys leaned against her skirt one last time. For every blade that had swung in history's hand, a pair of small shoulders now answered with breath. She counted that as victory enough for this day. Conquest had ended. Duty had not. By the fire, she spoke of their father without the armor of myth, how he prayed like a farmer watering roots, how he punished theft of bread but pardoned courage in mistake, how he bled and kept walking. She gave them a small map, drawn not with roads but with names, houses where doors would open to orphans, tribes whose bread carried the taste of safety. 3 rules she planted like olive saplings: truth before pride, mercy before anger, prayer before decisions. They repeated them back until the words felt like sandals that fit. At first light, the world forgave the night for its terrors. They moved toward Harari's orbit by paths that kept distance from patrols, stopping where the ledgers were friendly and the orphan courtyards were rich in laughter. Once, the older boy took the banner from her satchel and held it for a dozen steps. It fluttered like a wounded bird, learning the sky again. She steadied his hand and smiled through tears. The road asked for nothing more than feet and patience. Behind them, the fig tree kept watch. Ahead, the terraces waited for names to return. If swords had written the conquest, her tears wrote the ending, not in the ink of surrender, but in the script of endurance, line by line, name by name. until tomorrow began to sound less like a rumor and more like a promise.